In the past 4 decades, my guest tonight has starred in films like St. Elmo's Fire and Wayne's World, as well as television series like The West Wing and Parks and Rec. He now hosts the podcast Literally with Rob Lowe, and it's a huge success. Please welcome Rob Lowe. Rob, congrats on the podcast. It's doing great.
Thank you. It's really exciting. And for those of you who don't know, I do it in conjunction with Conan's company. And I'm just once again sucking off your intellectual property, Conan.
Listen,
I'm just drafting behind you as I've done my entire career.
Your entire career, going back to the mid 80s, was drafting off of my success, even though I was a complete unknown and a failure at the time. I don't know how you did that, but
I somehow knew that our paths would cross in the podcast world, and we would be we're the darlings of the podcast world this week. I mean, how cool
this
is
week.
that?
Well, we'll be that for this week, and then we have to find a new medium next week. Next week,
that's right. Yes, I'm going to go into the interpretive dance touring business next week.
You'd be good.
And I think I think I've seen you do interpretive dance.
That's called me walking. That's just what I look like when I walk. There's a couple of things to talk about. First of all, we're going through this long quarantine, and I am falling apart day by day. My hair is the longest it's ever been. The pompadour has collapsed. I look like I'm having a nervous breakdown. You look better than ever, and it enrages me. What are you doing?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I have sort of Backstreet Boys highlights in my hair right now.
I did notice.
And that's it. I was so bored that I was going to go for the Robert De Niro Mohawk and Taxi Driver, and I got talked out of it.
Good.
And I was like, well, then I want to just put really crazy highlights, like I'm a member of NSYNC. And so it's not like I'm totally keeping up with my, heritage here. I'm slipping. Look what's become of me.
Well, first of all, it looks fantastic. I mean,
well, thank you.
You look good as always. I know that your wife is a makeup artist.
Yes, she is.
So she probably gives you a little help. And I'm assuming that you consume some sort of devil blood at night. There's something you do that you're not telling anybody. You have you have one of those chambers that freezes your body and face. Do you have one of those?
Oh, like a cybergenetic, like the kind of thing that Walt Disney is supposedly buried in?
Don't act like you don't have one. It's, you're
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Conan. I would never have anything like that ever.
Okay. All right. Okay. Take it easy. It's too close.
By the way, I would do that in 2 seconds. If there was such a thing, I would sleep in it, and I would be so down to clown with that. I would.
What are you drinking there? Is that some sort of special juice I need to know about?
This is what did you say it was? The blood of devils.
A special juice? What is that? Yeah. Is that like, is that some, I know you once told me that you keep little moisturizers that you yourself make in your pocket, and you sometimes moisturize.
I do. I in all seriousness, I have my own skincare line, Profile Cobalt, and I do have one of our biggest seller is an under eye roller ball that helps you with aging and fine lines and wrinkles. And like if I go into a meeting and I want a little just pull it out, and no one's the wiser.
I pitched my own line of face care products for men a few years ago. And the tagline was, so you can look like Conan. I lost everything. I lost everything. I lost the house, lost the beach house, everything gone. Apparently no one wants to look like Conan.
Well, I can tease now for the audience that you are on the podcast coming up. And I think you're week after next. And you talk about how when you walk on the beach, that you look like Rose Kennedy at the end.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. When she was 107 and they would take her to the beach and they would just drape her in blankets and hats. She looked like a pile of laundry that was tumbling down the sand.
I think that's when I think of you.
Yeah.
When I think of you just in the neighborhood at your little beach house, your clam shack that you like to escape to, I'll know it's you if it looks like laundry and blankets.
That's who I am.
Walking down the beach. Oh, there's Conan. I'll go say hi.
I am. Now, I do need your advice on something, which is we moved into a theater, a very nice, prominent comedy theater here in Los Angeles called Largo.
Yep.
And we're doing shows out of there now. I know that you've had legitimate theater experience. Maybe you could give me some tips. You performed in the West End in London, I think, didn't you?
I did. I performed at the Royal Haymarket in the West End, which is sort of the biggest, most traditional, oldest theater in the West End. You know, there they have, because it's in the UK, they have a royal box for the Queen if she deigns to come to see the entertainment. I don't know what the like would be at Largo. If they have the UK royal box, I don't know what it would be. Who would the box be for at Largo in Los Angeles?
It would probably be for the director of the Department of Water, you know,
yes,
like that. That would be that's the equivalent of royalty in LA is who can get you extra water for your lawn. It would be someone.
See, I
like
thought
that.
It might be like a Kardashian box.
Well, now you're talking about true royalty now. Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the royal box is, you know, obviously the Queen is not really into theater, so it's empty all the time. But I was doing A Few Good Men with Aaron Sorkin, and one day the box had people in it, and I noticed I was doing the "You Can't Handle the Truth" scene, the big fireworks scene at the end, and I looked over and they were having sex.
There's a couple in the royal box having sex.
100% having sex with total abandon, by the way. And when I was like, couldn't believe it. And apparently it was a thing. Like if you do enough theater in the West End, this couple is notorious. Like it's their thing.
Oh, that's what they do. That's what they do. Yeah.
It is their thing. How they get into the royal box, I don't know. But so I'm just saying, Cafe Largo, you know, it's a live theater, Conan. You need to be ready for anything that could happen, and literally anything.
I'm basically here with about 4 socially distanced male crew members wearing masks.
Are any of them having sex?
3 of them.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Hey, I want to ask you about something. During you have so many great stories, and you've been in the business for such a long time. You have this. I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true, but of course, everyone's obsessed with Michael Jordan and that documentary, The Last Dance, which people fantastic, and whole new appreciation, as if we needed to be reminded, but we did, about just how intense Michael Jordan was in his career. I'm told that you, at a celebrity event to raise money, a charity event, you were the celebrity coach, and you were the first coach then that coached Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson when they were on the same team. They had never played together. This was before the Olympics, right?
You know, and it's funny, you get to a certain age and you have your memories and you remember something and you go, that can't be true. That really didn't. I'm imagining that. So Magic Johnson is this week's current guest on the podcast. And I asked him, I said, remember when I coached your celebrity charity game in Los Angeles in the 80s and you and Michael played together? That wasn't the first time you guys ever set foot on the court together, was it? And he said, yes, it absolutely was. So that is a 100% true story.
You were the celebrity coach. In that situation, I don't know what I would do. I would either do absolutely nothing or I would get in their faces a lot just to be annoying. Would it
be better?
Yeah.
Play basketball better. I did get to the point where, like, I mean, I'm one of the celebrities and I've been doing nothing. I mean, what are you going to do? I've been sitting on the bench for the whole game, and I figured I better do. There's like 2 minutes left in the game, and I figured I better do something. So I called a 20-second timeout. By the way, I was dressed like Pat Riley, as one does. I had the Armani suit on. I had my hair slicked back.
Yeah.
And I called a 20-second timeout. And when I got out there, they huddled around and they all looked at me. And I think we had like Karl Malone was on the team. Mark Jackson was on the team. I mean, everybody. Right. And I had nothing to say, of course. And I looked over, though, at Michael, and he was pissed. And he looked at Magic, you know, Magic's being his magic self. having a good time. I think the score was 240 at that point. No one played any defense. And
Right.
Michael was like, hey, man, you want to win this? And all of a sudden, you could see a light bulb go off in Magic's head. He was like, oh, Jesus Christ, he means it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it got really competitive. But that's who Michael was. It was all fun and games and for money, but Michael wanted to win 100% all the time.
I love it. I love it. It's you're supposed to be just joking around. It's for charity. And even in that moment, which when you've seen the documentary, you could totally see that. I think I would have pulled him from the game. I think I
should have.
I should have. That's what you should have done. You should have said, Michael, I'm taking you out. You don't have what it takes. And can you imagine? Can you imagine what he would have done?
Or how about fantastic. This? I call timeout for the last shot. And I make Michael pass the ball. Michael, so in this, you just gotta hit, Mike Shrek or whatever like we had. Like,
yeah, like some celebrity who clearly can't play, So
yes.
You have to hit Balky from Perfect Strangers for the final shot.
100%. I should have done it. That would have been great. I was too scared. I was intimidated around those guys. There was a moment where Karl Malone ran past Magic and Michael and I. We were all sitting. That shows you what a bad coach I was, because there was an actual moment where both Magic and Michael Jordan were on the bench.
With you, moisturized.
With me. That shows you what a terrible coach I was. But I remember it vividly because Karl Malone ran past us, and it was like a freight train where the dust and the air travels behind it and debris. and I just remember them both looking at each other, because I think Malone was a rookie.
Yeah.
And to say, would you ever take a hard foul from that man? And they were like, hell no.
No. Another documentary that's been huge, of course, during this quarantine is Tiger King. You posted this great shot of yourself as Joe Exotic.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you have too much time in your hands, and your wife was one of the leading makeup artists in the business. We just went to the attic, got the old makeup kit out, and I spent an entire day just having the most fun being Joe Exotic, and I put it up for fun. And then the next thing you know, Ryan Murphy was like, let's go out and make this as a real movie. So we went out and tried to get the rights, which of course were already gone. But
who has the rights? Do you know who has the rights?
Turns out a consortium, because I think, isn't it always consortiums that have rights as opposed to one person?
I think so. Consortiums I always think of as evil too, which is probably true.
Nick Cage is involved in it. So.
Oh, Nick Cage. Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Nick Cage is always part of every consortium.
Isn't he though?
If there's a consortium trying to buy up all the oil in Alaska, Nick Cage is in there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Consortium.
Yeah, so it's a Nick Cage consortium.
Oh my God.
Listen, I stand down at the altar of the notion of Nicolas Cage as the Lion King. I mean, I got nothing to offer there.
He'd be great.
Yeah,
but I got to say, the picture had me wanting to see, I thought this could happen when I saw
it is the role of a lifetime. Like when I watched that, I was like, because whenever I usually I don't get to do hardcore character stuff. I mean, when I did Behind the Candelabra, I got to do a lot, and I love it. Whenever I can do prosthetic stuff, it's just a great escape for me, and it's kind of freeing. And I thought this would be great. So I'm always looking for something like it.
I forgot about Behind the Candelabra. That was fantastic. And you had your character, who's a plastic surgeon, had an insane amount of the prosthetics they did on you.
Yeah.
You were completely absurd looking. And then, like most people who've had terrible plastic surgery, you were completely unaware that you looked crazy. That was my favorite part of the character.
Yeah, and not only that, I'm a bad surgeon. So when I give Michael Douglas his Liberace surgery, he says, and it's got his eyes pulled like this, and he says, "Doctor, will my eyes ever be able to close?" And I say, "Probably not." But look at it this way: you'll always get to see people's reactions when they see how great you look. and I don't know if you noticed, but I look very androgynous, and there was a lot of people playing sort of fey androgynous stuff, and I wanted to stand out. So I was like, I'll look androgynous, but I'm going to use the voice of the guy from the Men's Warehouse.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to like the way you look.
Let me ask you quickly about someone. I think we both met Chris Farley around the same time.
Mhm.
I remember very clearly when he came to Saturday Night Live and he was waiting for an interview with Lorne. And I think he had to wait for 2 days outside Lorne's office. And so I ended up just clowning around with this great new guy I'd never met before named Chris Farley. You met him probably shortly after he was hired for Saturday Night Live because you knew Lorne. You knew Lorne Michaels. So how did you, is that when you met Chris? Because I know you eventually worked with him in Tommy Boy, but you met him, I think, at Lorne's house. Is that correct?
I met him at Lorne's wedding. And you know how you, there's certain people in life that for whatever reason, you remember exactly where you were when you met them.
Mm-hmm.
And think about many people that we meet, famous, not famous, and we don't remember where we met them for the first time or what they were doing or how they were standing. Farley was one of those guys, probably because he was packed into a suit that was 17 times too small for him.
Right.
And sweating like he had jumped into Lake Michigan. But he was standing by the porta potties. And then, of course, his first acting job in a movie was in Wayne's World 2. And then, of course, we did Tommy Boy together. And I loved him. He was funny. And he and Spade, they would fight over me like I was the hot girl. They would get very jealous of who was spending time with me. And it really made me laugh.
I understand that. I get where they're coming from. I really do. I understand that. I'm always jealous when I hear that you're spending time with others. And
one quick Farley story is he loved to eat steak,
mm-hmm.
and I took him to a steakhouse when we wrapped Tommy Boy, and he had two full bone-in porterhouses. Upon each bite of the 2 full bone-in porterhouses, he put an entire cube of butter on every bite. And when I was horrified, I was like, Farley, what are you doing? He said, it needs a hat.
Oh, God bless him. Yes. What a brilliantly funny guy.
I've never eaten steak. Every bite of steak I eat to this day, I go, I wonder if I should put a hat on this.
Maybe not. Surgeon General might disagree.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I mention one thing, which is I want to make sure that I promote your terrific podcast, but I also want to mention something that's completely unrelated to the business. There's a handmade T-shirt that's available on Etsy that's getting some notice, and I just wanted to put a word out for this T-shirt. I guess, do you know who made this T-shirt? It's some woman came up with it, I believe. Is that correct?
It is. It's a thing. It started on the internet as a GIF.
Yep.
And now it is a shirt. And I've never seen one in person.
Yeah,
but
you should get one. We should each get one, and then you and I should go out for steaks.
Yes.
This shirt says, "How many Lowe's could Rob Lowe rob if Rob Lowe could rob Lowe's?" And there's information. You can get this on Etsy, and apparently, yeah, it's a thing. People are getting these shirts. I hope you're getting a piece of this.
Well, I was like, how do I get a piece of this? So I had my managers and agents call Lowe's and say, this is an internet thing. It's a sensation. It's on the internet. It's this kind of cool, subversive thing. There are shirts being sold. We should do something with Lowe's. And they were like, we don't really see the connection. Like, okay.
Yeah, you're Lowe's. Forget it. Yeah. I think it's the wrong person.
On the internet, that groundswell of connecting. Yeah. Who needs it?
Yeah, no, they said no one's really buying things over the internet. So just relax.
They did. That's what the people at Lowe's said. They were not, they didn't get it.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your time. A delight as always talking to you. And congratulations again, literally with Rob Lowe, which is currently number 3 on the charts, is available wherever you consume, because we all consume podcasts. We don't just listen to them. We consume them.
No, we not only do consume them, we put a hat on them, and then we put a hat on them.
Yeah. New episodes drop every Thursday, and it's really a delight. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it has been, I thought it might be fun. It's way surpassed what I thought it would be. The guests have been insane, and just to talk, to ask the things of people that people don't get a chance to ask them has been, it's been great, and I love the response so far. It's been really great.
Well, congratulations on that, and I hope to run into you soon. I'm going to have some work done before I see you because I'm ashamed.
I think you should.
Rob Lowe, thank you very much, and take care, and I'll see you soon.
All right, thanks. Call me.